my lovely people. Welcome back to A Black Cat's Voice. I'm your host, Kat, here with a brand new episode for your beautiful, wonderful, lovely listening ears. Now, before I speak on tonight's topic, I just want to say thank you, yes, you, who is listening right in this moment. Thank you for being here, because I really realized that there's a lot of podcasts out there, there's a lot of people out there. You could be doing anything with your time right now, but you're giving me a couple of moments of your most precious gift, which is time. And you're listening to me. And I really, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate that. So thank you so much for being here. And just know I love having you guys here. I really, really do. So let's talk, y'all. Let's get into it. So I want to talk about why you should burn that bridge. Yeah, I said it, y'all. Burn that bridge. Now, I know a lot of times y'all hear, those expressions, oh, you shouldn't burn bridges. Oh, don't burn that bridge. You might need it later. Whatever the case may be. I want to tell you right here, right now, sometimes you need to burn that bridge. For real. Like, some bridges really need to be burned because some roads lead nowhere. So before I get into, my points on why this is true, on why, I feel the way that I feel, I just want to state once again that I am nobody's teacher but my own. So if you take anything away from listening to me, if you feel like any of this is advice that resonates in your life, I am thankful, I am grateful, but always understand, I'm not your mama. I am not here to tell you what to do. Okay? I just speak on my experiences and the knowledge and wisdom that I have received based on how my life has gone, based on my observations, based on my research. So just understand, I'm never sitting here trying to tell you what to do, how to do it, nothing like that. You feel me? This is just really, for me, this is conversation. Let's talk about some things. So let's talk about it, y'all. Why you need to burn that bridge. So first things first, you got a lot of people out here who are following others who don't even know where they're going. You have a lot of people who really don't realize that it's the blind leading the blind, but you got to think about it. How can anybody tell if somebody's blind if they're blind themselves? You feel me? And I don't mean blind, obviously, physically. I mean blind, like just spiritually or intellectually, however you want to take it, because certain things you really don't know and you really can't comprehend until you know. You really cannot understand certain things just about life itself until you really receive that, that experience and whatever that lesson is to teach you things that you don't think it's true. You don't, maybe hope it's true. For a fact, this is what it is. And a lot of people, especially, with social media and all this other nonsense, you have so many people who really think that they're leaders and they don't realize that they're not going nowhere themselves. You feel me? And how can you truly be a leader if you don't even know where you're going? Like, I really genuinely don't believe in taking advice from people I don't want to be like. I know there's instances where it's like right message, wrong messenger. But for me, if it's the wrong messenger, like, sometimes I don't even want to hear what you got to say because I don't want to be like you. So I'm not going to even waste my time trying to listen to you or trying to figure out, if what you have to say is correct for my life, because that's not your job. That's my job. It's nobody's job to tell me what to do in my life. It's my job to figure it out for myself. So I just really don't understand, like, why do people take advice from people they don't want to be like? You know, I did a whole episode on this in season 3, episode 9. And I just really want you guys to understand that listening to anything anybody tells you can be very detrimental to your life. Like, you really got to be careful, because a lot of people, especially celebrity wise, are not who they appear to be. You know, a lot of people are telling you to do stuff that they don't even do themselves. So it's like, what's really going on? Like, perfect example, you know, a lot of people want to be a boss, want to be a hustler, like Rick Ross. Y'all know Rick Ross, the rapper. But did you know he used to be a correctional officer? Google it. Don't believe me. Another example, you have people like Cardi B. I'm not a fan, never been a fan, never will be a fan. But you have Cardi B, and you have a lot of people who not only follow her, you have young girls who try to be like her and let their kids, you know, listen to her. But did you know there are videos of Cardi B turning off her own music when her daughter walks into the room? So if she don't let her daughter listen to her own music, why are you letting your daughter listen to her music? You feel me? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm literally just asking questions. You know, I just want to make you guys think about some things. So another thing I really need you guys to understand is that not all bridges lead to good destinations. And when I say a bridge, I'm using this as a metaphor for, you know, a job, a person, a place. You know, let me just break it down for you guys so I can be specific and clear on what I mean. So, perfect example for a job, you know. If you've been at a certain job for years, you know, you've been going for a promotion, you are a hard worker, you're consistent, your attendance is good and everything else. And within that company, you see people on lower levels, you know, people who might have came in after you, people who might have less experience than you do. You see them get that same promotion that you have been working your ass off for years for. You feel me? It's really like, if a job keeps showing you how they feel about you and how they don't value you, why do you keep going back to that job? You know, you really got to know your worth. Now, I'm not saying quit your job. You know, obviously we all got to make money out here. Some of us have to do things we don't necessarily favor to make and earn that money. But I'm just saying, long term, you got to do what makes you happy. You know, this job that is taken away from your mental health, from your physical health, from time you could be spending with your family. Like, why keep going and keep working, you know, working yourself to the bone for a job that doesn't even appreciate you? You feel me? Like, I understand having to stay, you know, in certain situations because you're figuring it out. But I'm just saying, you know, go to school for something. Try a new hobby, you know, apply for something else. Because just because one job may belittle you and mistreat you, there's always another job that will lift you up, will build you, will promote you, and will really do the things that they say they're going to do. You feel me? So you really got to know your worth. Another example of a bridge that might need to be burned is certain places. You feel me? Like, some of y'all, you know, I've had this experience myself. There was this restaurant I used to really enjoy going to, you know, because they had really good food. Really, to me, it was reasonably priced and whatnot. But as time went by, I started to notice a change. You know, I noticed the prices went up. And the prices went up. I understand inflation and stuff like that, but these prices like skyrocketed. And on top of the prices skyrocketing, when I went, the customer service was just horrible. You know, like, they're always rude. You know, they're always forgetting something in my order, getting my order wrong. And then me, I don't play about my money. So if I pay for it, it better be right. So I'm not going to be rude or anything like that. but I'll, correct or attempt to correct their mistake, and then they would give me attitude. And for a couple of times, just because of convenience, I kept going back to this place until finally I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I could be spending my money somewhere else. I don't have to deal with this. I don't have to be mistreated, and I don't have to pay for things that are overpriced. When you're getting it wrong, you're giving me attitude. Like, this is not a good experience for me. You feel me? So I burned that bridge and I stopped going there. I haven't been there since my last bad experience. And that's a perfect example of, a place that is a metaphor for a bridge that really needed to be burned. The last example I want to use, it can be people. It can really be people in your life who are just so toxic. I see a lot of couples in toxic relationships, toxic situations, always fighting with each other, always cheating on each other. And it literally gets to the point, in my opinion, where it's like, why do you keep going back? If you know your ex does nothing but cheat on you, mistreat you, belittle you, betray you, hurt you, why do you keep going back to that? Nothing's gonna change until you know your worth. Know your worth, people. Burn that bridge. Lastly, I just want to say, for anybody out there who may be like me, sometimes you're just looking for a sign. Allow Kat to tell you, this is your sign. This is it. Burn that bridge. Life is going to hurt us enough. We don't need to be hurting ourselves. Why keep going down a path if you know that road only leads to destruction? Burn that bridge. Burn that motherfucking bridge, and don't take your ass back over there. In my black mama voice, excuse my language, some things just have to be said sometimes. Burn that bridge, y'all. If you know you better than that, then show me. Forget showing me, show yourself your true worth. Because if it's one thing in this life, you gotta know your worth. And I believe not just know your worth, but add tax, honey. Okay? Burn that bridge, baby. And as always, thank you for listening. Take care.